What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is Killer Drone, and welcome back to the Minecraft How to Build series. And in today's episode, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make an amazing looking windmill for your world. But in the last episode, we created a starter house, and in case you guys missed that one, I will leave an annotation on screen now if you guys want to go and check this out. Nothing insane, but a nice, quaint little starter house for you guys to add into your world, and I absolutely love this thing. But let's go ahead and get on to the windmill. So as with all builds that we cover here in the How to Build series, the number one thing that you want to do is pick a location. Your location for a build really does matter. You don't want to have buildings very spread apart, so if my starter house was here, I don't want my windmill to be on the other side of the valley unless I was somehow going to connect up the town between there. So I think having the windmill right next to a house that someone would live in actually makes a lot of sense. So when this person wakes up in the morning, they walk right outside and straight to the place that they're going to work for the day. Okay, so this is going to be the starter layout for our house. Go ahead and copy this down into your world. Use some blocks that are not on my hotbar right now, because if you use any of these, you may get a little bit confused over the course of this tutorial. Use any type of concrete or materials that you have on hand. And now that you have that copied down into your world, let's go ahead and let's get started. So, starting off over here in this corner, let's go ahead and just take some stone all the way around the innermost large circle here. This is going to be our foundation for this build, and we're actually going to build this up by 2 blocks high. So just do this exact same thing around once and then around another time. Once you have all of this done, we're going to layer in just a little bit of stone brick. Not too much, because stone brick is very much a uniform block, and we don't want a ton of it. So just like maybe a piece here and a piece here, just to add in a very, very slight differentiation. We don't want anything too much, maybe just like 2 or 3 pieces on each side, just to give it a little bit of a different look. Nothing too much at all, just a little bit, just barely at all. So once you have that done, come back around to the front of the building, and these 3 blocks here, what you're going to do is make yourself a small staircase, just like so, coming up to 1 block above your foundation. Then what you're going to want to do is take some strip spruce logs and come up by 5 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then on this 5th block, you're actually going to turn it on its side like this. This is going to be a beam running across the top front of your build. Do the exact same thing on the other side, so just a staircase like this, and then once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then on this 5th one, you just want to turn this block so that it looks like it's laying across these beams here. Go ahead and connect this up all the way across, and you should be left with something that looks a bit like that. Now what we're going to do is we are going to get in the front face of our door here. And normally I don't like to get in a door this soon into a build. However, everything is going to be lined up with the centerpiece of the door. So it's going to be kind of important for the build for us to go ahead and get this in. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some white terracotta 2 blocks in from the edge, just like that on each side. So just like so, on each side, just 2 blocks of terracotta, and then take yourself a bit of cobblestone and just make a very small archway. So do something a bit like this, bring it up by 3 blocks, and then you got an archway in the middle. The way that you know that you did this right is if you have a 1 block gap right here at the top that you can fill in with some white terracotta along the edge, just like so. Now, I'm going to come back a little bit later and detail out this front more, adding in a better front door as well as differentiating this white terracotta because it's very plain. However, this is what we needed just so that we can base the rest of the build off of that. So in line with this cobblestone pillar here, you can just follow this straight up and place a stripped log right there. Do the exact same thing on this side. The reason that we're doing that is because it's going to make this area look like it's all in line with the front of the building, and that's just going to really add to the structural significance of this area. So everything's kind of in line with where the structural supports are of the building. Kind of a lot of thought goes into that, but really it's just lining everything up so it looks good to the eye. So now what we're going to do is once again come 5 blocks up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then again we're going to turn these blocks on their side and run a beam across here. Now for this beam, we're actually going to do something a bit different than we did here, and that's that we're going to stop at 1 block short. So come over here, and if you just look down, you want this beam to be 1 block shorter than the previous beam. And that's going to be very important for our roof. So as you can see on the other side as well, 1 block short, and now you should have something that looks a bit like this. So we're kind of going up at an angle already. Now we're going to do the exact same thing. Above these beams, we're going to go up another 5 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same with this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, knock out these top blocks and turn them on their side, just like so. And we're going to run yet again another beam across the front, and we're going to make it 1 block short from the edge on each side once again. So you should have something that looks a bit like this. For this top layer, it's literally just 2 blocks on each side. For this layer, it's 3 blocks on each side. And for the bottom layer, it's 4 blocks on each side from the middle beam. So you should have something that looks a bit like this. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this left side of the beam, or I guess you could do the right side. You're just going to have to flip some things over the course of this tutorial. But take the left side of this beam and just bring it up by another 5 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is going to be our peak. That is going to be our left side that our windmill is going to come out of this area later on. However, we're not quite to that stage yet. So the next thing that we're going to do is lay out a little bit of wood here, and that's going to be our temporary block because that is going to be the peak of our roof. Now we pretty much have the skeleton in for the entire build. What I'm going to do is I'm going to circle around to the back of the build now, and we're going to mimic pretty much the entire front onto the back. So over here in this corner, what we're going to do, instead of doing the staircase, I'm just going to bring it up by 3 blocks. 1, 2, 3, just like so. And then mimic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like that. Again, get our beams going across. Over on this side, I'm going to do the exact same thing. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then get our beams going across like so. And at this point, it's literally just mimicking what we already have at the front. So just copy that over to the back. And then when you have that done, I'll bring you back. So now you should have something that looks a bit like this, and you don't need to copy over the doorway from the front over to the back. We're going to have a different entrance to the back later on that we'll work on. But for right now, I think it's going to be important to go ahead and get the roof in on this build. And the reason for that is it's a huge structural component to this thing, and it just makes everything else make a lot more sense. So what we're going to do in order to get the roof on is I'm going to show you guys the general layout and how this thing works, and then I'm going to leave it to you guys to connect it all the way down. So come over here to the front beam like this, and come 1 block off the side with some red terracotta. Then come down by 1, and then you're going to come out by 1 block from the front. So basically the way that this layout is going to work is you're going to have this, and then on top of this beam, you're going to build this up to where you're even with this beam here, and then place the next part of your roof on top of that beam. Bring it up until you're even with the next beam, and then up at the top here, you're actually going to come one block above where that beam is, and then you're going to go up one over one, build up by another, and then up one over one, and then you're going to have something that looks a bit like this. This is going to be the structure of your roof, and now all you need to do is just build this one block out from the front, like so, and you have something that looks a bit like this, and then drag this all the way down to the back to where you are one block out from the back as well. So you're just going to drag this all the way along, and it's going to be mimicked from front to back. Now on the other side, we don't have this big peak here, which means that we can do something a bit more interesting with this roof side. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off the same way. From this beam, we're going to go out by one and then down by one. So we still have that little overhang over the edge. On top of this beam, we're going to build up until we're even with this beam, and then we're going to build on top of that beam until we're even with this beam up at the top here. So at this point, you should be left with something like this. Now across this beam, we're actually going to do a flat roof. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to start the exact same thing that we had on this side. So 1, 2, and then up 1 over 1, and then 1, 2. Again, you're going to have this go out one block from the front of the building, and then you're going to drag it all the way back and have it one block out from the back of the building. So just like this, and this will be the roof structure. Just go ahead and stretch it all the way to the back, one block past the skeleton. So now you should have something that looks a bit like this. Also, if you haven't connected up this very top beam where this wood is, go ahead and do that. Just connect it up all the way across. And now that is your roof complete. However, we can add in some extra details just to make it pop a little bit more. So over on this right side, what we're going to do is add in a couple of gables to make it stand out just a bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the top here where we have the flat part, and I'm going to find the middle, which it looks like to be right about there. We should have 7 blocks on each side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Absolutely perfect. And then on the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Absolutely perfect. So this is our center block for the roof. Now what we're going to do is we are going to do kind of a U shape here, and then we're going to bring that U shape out by another block. Then what we're going to do is take some red terracotta and run it along the edge like so, and we're just going to make a small roof over the top of this thing. So you should have something that looks a bit like this. So 4 blocks out with the terracotta, and then you have yourself a little gable just like that, and it's just a nice little added detail. Go ahead, get in some white terracotta right there, and then you can even put in a bit of spruce fence. Also, you can go ahead and knock out whatever block is back there in order to let in some light as well. So now on the exact same side of the roof, we're going to get in a second gable that is bigger but slightly lower down. So what we're going to do is come right here where the roof level changes, once again centered up with our previous gable, and just put a block right there. So we're going to have kind of a different shape to this gable because it's going to have a different in roof depth. So block right there, and then what you're going to do is just kind of make an O like this. You should have something that looks a bit like that with a 2 block gap in the middle. Go ahead and place another block right there, and then remove this block here. So you should have a 3 tall window just like that. Go ahead and get out your red terracotta, and then just follow along the edge of your top just like so. And again, leave it to where it has a 1 block overhang from the side, and now you have yourself a nice little gable. Go ahead and connect it up to the back wall like so, and fill in all of this so it looks good. Remove your 3 blocks to where you let in some light, and then just slap in some spruce fences just like that. And now you have 2 nice little gables on this side of the roof. Now at this point here, I think it's probably time to start doing a bit of detail work on the roof. Right now, it is very flat. The entire roof is all one color for the most part, except for the gables, and that just doesn't look very good. So what we're gonna do is add in a bit of texture by adding in some granite. And this is just going to make it look like these red roofing tiles are kind of wore down. Like in certain spots they're maybe broken up, or maybe they are sun bleached or something like that. So it's just going to add a bit of variation to the roof. And in order to do this, you're literally just going to randomly place in your granite. And this is going to be more of a preference thing as to how much granite you want to put into this area. If you really, really want your roof to look worn down, put in a ton of granite. If you want it to just look kind of run down, maybe go a little bit more sparingly with the granite. Just put in a block here and there. I'm gonna go for a pretty run down look here, so I'm gonna put in a pretty good amount of granite. However, you can decide what you want to do in your own build, but this just makes it to where it breaks up all of that red. This is going to be, once again, another one of those preference things. Some people are going to like a ton of granite being in the build, and then some people are going to be like, yeah, I don't like granite, so I'm not going to put any at all. This is going to be kind of a preference thing, but do what you want to do. Just add in some granite to break up that texturing. So now you should have something that looks a bit like this, and once again, this is gonna be a lot up to preference. If you guys want this roof to look more run down, then add in some more granite. If you want it to look really clean and polished, then maybe take out some more granite. Again, this is gonna be a lot of up to preference, but do whatever you think is best for the roof with this pattern. Just a lot of terracotta and then spread in granite as you think is necessary. But next, we're actually going to come back down to the bottom here, and we are going to work on getting in our side walls. So what we're going to do for this is from these outside beams on each side, we're going to come out by 3 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, like so, and then put up a beam. So you should have a 3-block gap between this beam and this beam. Do the exact same thing on this side. 1, 2, 3 block gap, and then you should have a 3-block gap between the 2 beams. Go ahead and bring this up until it matches the front of your skeleton here. So just like so, and then over like that. This means that you should have a 1-block overhang with this red terracotta for your roof. So just like so, and then over like that. You can go ahead and remove that block and place it back down to where it looks like the beam is laying across it, or you can not, doesn't particularly matter. You'll barely see that block anyway. Do the exact same thing on the other side. So once again, 3-block gap, 1, 2, 3, and then just come up like so, and then over into your roof. This is just adding in some structural support to the sides here, up like so, and then over into your roof once again. And now we're starting to take shape with this sidewall. The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to take out some white terracotta and we are going to fill in this sidewall completely and then make it even to this block right here, to where this beam comes across and connects. Just go ahead and fill all of that in with white terracotta, and you should have something that looks a bit like this. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks tall, and then 1 block over, covering up that area. Do the exact same thing over here. Fill all of this in, and you're going to do this between each and every one of the gaps on both side walls. So you should have something that looks a bit like this. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna bring up some of the cobblestone and down some of the white terracotta. We're going to make a gradient here that's gonna blend this area together so it's not so boxy and hard to look at. So what I'm gonna do is I am just going to take out like this section here, and I'm gonna put cobblestone maybe like that. And then we'll do white terracotta like so. So it just makes it look like this part of the building is blending with this part of the building. Same thing here. I'm going to take out some of this, and maybe this time I'll do 2 cobblestone like that, maybe even come up a little bit higher, and then we'll do some white terracotta like that. Just anything like that, kind of gradient this stuff up into the wall here. Maybe we'll do something a little bit even crazier here, and we'll do like this. And now we'll do some white terracotta to fill that back in. And now you have kind of a mixture of the two on each side. Just kind of blend the textures together. Do the exact same thing on the other side. Give yourself a little bit of a different look at this wall. Another thing that you can do, we are going to be adding in some bone blocks into this build. You can mix some of this in as well. Do it very, very sparingly though. You do not want a ton of this bone block because it is quite a bright block. So maybe just 1 or 2 pieces on each one of these side panels. You do not want a ton of it. And it's just to make it look like this white terracotta is kind of run down. So it's kind of got that bleached look to it. So this is the type of wall that you want to make on both sides. Do it on this side, and then also come around to the other side and do it over here as well. So I'm going to show you guys one other way to do these side walls, and to be honest with you, I kind of like this a little bit better than what I did on the other side. Instead of bringing the white terracotta down, another thing that you can do is just bring the cobblestone up. Since you want your cobblestone to look like it is a foundation, you may not want to do like what we did on this side and bring your walls down into the foundation. And what you may want to do instead is leave your foundation as these 2 blocks and just bring some of your foundation up like that. I like that a little bit better, but to be honest with you, either one works in this case. You can do a little bit like this and just remove some of the cobblestone like this and just kind of replace it. Or you can do what we did just a minute ago. It doesn't particularly matter. I think that I probably like this method better because I really like having that solid foundation down there and then blending up, rather than blending them both together. But I'll let you decide which one you like better. It's just 2 different ways of doing the gradient on the side. So circling around to the back wall, let's go ahead and get a back entrance here that will lead out into a wheat field. So what we're going to do is over from the edge, we are going to come out by 2 blocks, just like so, all the way up till we're even with that beam. And then 1 block out, just like that. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So 2 blocks all the way up, and then 1 block out, just like that. Then what we're going to do is come with a bit of cobblestone and just follow the edge of that all the way up, just like so. And then you have yourself an arch like that in the middle. This is going to be the back. So it's going to be a slightly different arch from what you have at the front. But that is because this door is not actually going to have a door on it. It's going to be completely open to the field that's going to be back here. So we don't really need a lot of protection, whereas the front door will actually have a door on it. Okay, so back at the front, let's go ahead and start filling in the front wall and the back wall. So in order to do this, what you're going to do is come 1 block back from the beam structure that we have set up. So just right here, we're going to fill all of this in like so. And this is going to give us a palette behind here for us to work on adding in detail. Basically, we're just going to have these blank walls at the back, and then we're going to detail in front of them a little bit later on. So let's go ahead and do a bit like this on each side and just fill in these gaps all the way across. Just like so. All the way up with your white terracotta. And then in this gap, again, 1 block back from the beam, and then just fill all of this in like that. So you should be left with something that is, I actually missed one right here. Go like this, all the way up. And now you should be left with something that looks like this. And this is kind of a blank canvas. What we can do is now come in and add in a ton of detail into this. So one of the things that I like to do is get in some cross beams into this area. So I'll come out and do something a bit like that. So it looks like a cross beam coming like this, holding the building together. I'll do the exact same thing on this side as well. Remove those 3 blocks, and then you have a cross coming down from each one of the roof points. I really like that. I think that that's kind of cool. Then what we can do is get in some stairs, take out some spruce stairs, and put them like so on each one of these sides. And then we can even do it like that. And now we have a nice little section here that I think looks pretty good. Coming up a little bit on this section, what we can do is bust out this middle one and then add in a spruce fence in the middle and give ourselves a nice little window. Now for the entire section up here, other than our main doorway, we can go ahead and start splashing in some of the bone blocks that I mentioned. We can do this very sparingly, pretty much anywhere. We don't want to overdo this though. Once again, this is supposed to look like just some of them are a little bit bleached and it's not overdone here. So just a little bit like that looks really good in an area. I'm gonna do the exact same thing up here, just a little bit here and there in order to make it look like some of this white terracotta has been bleached over time. So just like that. And then I'll do it 1 there, and I tell you what, we'll go 1 there. And there you go. Just a little bit of different texturing is all we're doing here, and it looks pretty good. I like it. So now that you have this at the front, what you're gonna do is replicate this top portion around to the back. You're gonna take the exact same pattern that you did on the front and just flip it around and do the exact same thing on the back here to fill in this roof. So now we have something that's actually starting to look like a house. We have 4 walls and a roof, but now it's time to start detailing out our entranceways and also get in some fireplaces and even some side entrances. Just little details that'll make the build look a little bit better. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with this front entranceway here. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some cobblestone right off the front and then make a small staircase to get in. I'm gonna make this small staircase kind of resemble what we did with the foundation, and I'm gonna mix in a bit of cobblestone like so, and then also just a bit of stone brick like that. We don't really want to follow a pattern here or it's going to look a little bit funny. You don't want to do something like this and make like a V out of it, because then it looks like you're actually trying to make a pattern. You want this to look a little bit more organic. So in fact, what you may even want to do is do something like this instead, and it's not really a pattern. It's just something different. I like that a lot. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a little overhang off the front here, and to do that, we're going to take some cobblestone walls and bring them up by 2 on each side of the staircase, and then we're going to do 2 spruce fences on top of that. On top of those spruce fences, I'm going to do a double slab. It's different in my texture pack, so they get this cool little block. However, in your texture pack, you can just use a spruce plank or whatever for that block. Same thing over here, double slab on that block. And then we're just going to bring it out by 1 on each side and then fill in the roof like so, in a little archway coming out by 2 blocks. So I guess let me tear this down once again and just show you guys it rebuilt. Up, double slab, out by 1 on each side, and then up and over by a half slab, out 2, up and over by a half slab, out 2, and then up and over by a half slab again, and then out by 2 like that. And then you get this nice little covering as you come into the door. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take some spruce fences and we're just going to knock out 2 blocks on each side of the doorway and give ourselves a nice little window on each side of the door. That's looking really nice. And now last but not least, what we'll do is we'll come back in with our bone blocks and we'll do just a little bit of texturing once again with these. So once again, just a few. You don't want too many of these guys or it will start to look a bit funny. So maybe something a bit like that. Come up to the corners and just add in some spruce fences like so, and that'll just add a little bit of detail to the front as well. Another thing that I really like to do is along the sides of the buildings where we have these beams, go ahead and add in just a couple of structural supports like so. Add in some spruce fences 2 blocks down from the top here, and then add in a upside down stair just like this. It's not much, but it's a nice little added detail than it being just plain and flat. Just follow along the beams on the side, down by 2 blocks with your fences like so, and then an upside down stair all the way down. Once again, just adds a little bit of curvature to the sides rather than it being a straight shot all the way down the edge. So heading around to the right side of the building, what we're going to do is add in a side entrance to this area right here. So right next to this beam, go ahead and remove 2 blocks into your building. That is going to be the entrance that we are adding. Now what we're going to do is where our wool is, go ahead and add in a stone foundation just like this all the way across here. In front of where your doorway is, go ahead and add in a cobblestone stair in front. And then offset from where that stair is, go ahead and add in 3 spruce stairs just like so. So cobblestone stairs there, offset by 1 and out in front of the foundation. Go ahead and add in your spruce stairs just like that. Now what we're going to do is get in a roof over the top of this area. So go ahead and come to this corner and build up 2 cobblestone walls like that. And then over in this corner, do the exact same thing with 2 cobblestone walls like that. Go ahead and take out your spruce slabs and come out by 2 blocks from this wall and then out 3 blocks from this wall. We're going to have an overhang of this staircase right here, but not necessarily an overhang of this corner here. It's going to be kind of a more organic lean-to style entranceway on this side wall. So in order to do this roof, what I recommend is kind of starting from the top, from right above your doorway. So go ahead and do a half slab here, a half slab here, and then another half slab, 1 out from that half slab. Go ahead and bring this down and then over, and then remove that half slab like that. That is going to be your entranceway part of the roof. It's kind of funny building a roof backwards, but that's what we're going to have to do in order to make this look nice. So now from this section right here, 1 up from where your half slabs are on top of your cobblestone wall, go ahead and come out by 2 blocks, 1 block up, 2 blocks, 1 block up, 2 blocks, 1 block up. So your half slab should be 1 block below where this upside down stair is. Go ahead and wrap this half slab section around to here. And then on this side, we're going to do a half slab here, here, and there. And then you have kind of this L shape right there. And then you can build that down and over. You're going to have to replace a half slab there. And then you have this little roof just like so. like I said, it's kind of a more lean-to style roof. It's not a traditional one, but follow that block for block and you'll get something that looks really nice in this area. So moving around to the back of the building, right next to where your entranceway is, come up by 2 blocks of cobblestone on each side of the doorway like so. Put in some cobblestone in between, and then do some cobblestone stairs or some stone brick stairs mixed in. Doesn't matter, but just get yourself a staircase right into this area like so. Put down a cobblestone stair there and there leading into those blocks that you place down. And then just get some lighting in. You can do this with cobblestone walls, or you can do this with a spruce fence, anything like that. And then just set a lantern on top of it. This will just add a nice little glow to your back here. So something a bit like that is always nice to add in. Over here in this very last section, what we're gonna add in is a fireplace going up the back of the build and then reaching up into the sky. So this cobblestone that is right here is where your fence or your wall is going to reach out and stretch out back behind your build. Kind of like what we did over here for our wheat farm. We're gonna do the exact same thing here. Make some type of wall coming around the side and wrapping into this wall with wheat in the field out here. So that's what that cobblestone is for, but this 2x2 section of wool is going to be where our fireplace goes. So what I'm gonna do is at the bottom, closer toward the ground, we're gonna go mostly out of cobblestone, mostly out of a strong foundation. And then as we go up, we are going to add in white terracotta and cobblestone, kind of trying to give it a worn down stucco look as we go up into the sky. So this is gonna be kind of a weird build, but let's just start here by going a bit like this. Just build this up, get us a nice foundation made out of stone. In fact, I may even bring that down just a bit like so. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this mostly out of this stucco material. As I come up to the beams, I'm going to transition and go 1 block further out, and then we're going to go up once again, all the way up until we get to right about here, right before we hit this roof, and we're going to go out again, and we're going to transition into this area here, and we're just going to bring this up until we have it looking about right out of the back of the build. I think that we should go maybe about 2 blocks higher up like that. Let's head out just a bit. So that is what your fireplace would look like. That is, for if you guys want to count it out exactly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks above the roof line there. So it'll actually end up being even with this. And if you want to take it a little bit higher, you can maybe go just a bit higher, so it's maybe a little bit taller than that. Let's see how that looks, actually. Sometimes whenever you're building, sometimes it's better to just take a step back and actually look at what you're building and be like, yeah, I think I like that height a little bit better. Or if you like what you had, you can redo it. It's always fine whenever you are building something to not quite know exactly what you're doing and just kind of go with the flow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some campfires up here at the top, and then I'm going to take a different type of trap door. Normally, I use spruce trap doors up here, but I think this time I'm going to use some dark oak trap doors. And in my texture pack, they're a little bit different, but in your texture pack, they'll kind of look like a Hershey's chocolate bar. And either way, they will look good in this area. They are just a gorgeous trap door if used correctly in an area. So something like this, a little small smokestack like so. However, that is very plain, sticking out of the back of your build like that. So what we're gonna do is come in with some cobblestone, and we're gonna break this up, and we're just gonna add in some cobblestone here and there and try and break this up as much as we possibly can. Don't overdo it, but don't underdo it either. So let's do something a bit like this maybe, and you'll probably want to get some different angles at looking at your chimney as well just to kind of see how it's coming. Where these different juts out are, where we changed levels, what you'll want to do is come with some cobblestone stairs like that, just to make it look like it's actually curving up rather than this hard edge right here. So something a bit like that will be fine. And then once again, just come back in with your cobblestone and mix it in kind of sparingly, but kind of a lot as well. A sparingly a lot amount. Anyway, just kind of sprinkle this in as you go, and you'll get something that looks a bit like this. I'm going to play around with this a little bit more, but I'll bring you guys back in just a minute. So after playing around with this for a bit, I think I have the chimney in a place where I like it. A little bit of mixed in cobblestone and a little bit of mixed in white terracotta. I really like how that came out. I think that looks really good. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is, last but not least, let's get in the windmill. And this will be the last for the outside of the build, and then we'll start doing a little bit of interior work. So for the windmill, what we're going to do is come up to this cross section of the roof, and right off of this block here, come out by 3 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, and that's going to give you a little bit of space, a 1 block space from where your roof is. From this block, what you're going to do is take out some spruce fences and also some white wool. Now, different people have different ways that they like to do windmills. I'm going to do it a way that I like, and if you want to use a different method, you can always go and look up a different way. But let's just go with a very simple windmill here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a spruce fence just like so, and then we're going to do a ladder out in this direction. Or not a ladder, but more like a staircase. So like up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1. And my goal here is to have 6 pieces of wool going at a diagonal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I would have like this, another diagonal, and then 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then what I would do is come in and just add some wool to the middle sections like that, and you get yourself a nice big thick fan like that. I'm gonna do the exact same thing from the underside of this spruce fence and go down 1, over 1, 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 and then probably down 1 more time. So whenever you're doing things that it looks like it's spinning, basically whenever you're building at a diagonal in Minecraft, sometimes you may end up with sections that are slightly longer. So I'll show you guys that here. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then instead of having this spruce fence right here, what we're going to do is just place it on the side of that spruce fence. So we still have 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But as you can see, this spruce fence is lined up with that spruce fence up there. This is because diagonals are kind of weird in Minecraft, so that is how you're going to fix that issue. And then once again, just fill in the blocks in between, and there you go. You got yourself a nice thick fan once again. On the other side, you're going to do the exact same thing. It's just a copy of what's over there, so another staircase like so. Again, these spruce fences should end up being even with each other. So I got to come down 1 more just like that. And as you can see, the spruce fences are even. And now you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1 off of the edge. And then just connect all of those up, and you got yourself another fan. I'm going to go ahead and do this last one. So actually, I just made a mistake in building this thing. So let me point out this to you guys. That way you don't make the same mistake if you are building a windmill. So think about the way that a windmill would rotate. So if this pillar was to continue moving, it would end up looking like this pillar, like this fan. So this would swing around and it would look like that one. And if this one kept going around, it would not look like this one. That is because this wool is on the wrong side. Because of the rotation, our wool should actually be here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then down one more, and you should have 6, just like that. Now, this does make your windmill look a little bit weird at first, but as you get this thing completed, it's actually going to look more like it is spinning than before. It actually really helps it out. So let's go like this, fill in the in-between, and then from here, once again, think about the rotation. Our underside here should be where our wool goes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, just like so, and then fill in the in-betweens there. And now, as you can see, we have a beautiful looking windmill. So now it is time to talk about the interior of this building, and I normally like to leave you guys to do the interiors of builds because different people have different needs for builds. If you guys want to stuff this thing full of hay and bring in horses or something like that, you can totally do that. And I don't want to really tell you guys how to use the interior of the building, but I will give you guys some design tips to make this thing look a lot better. So first and foremost, let's come in on the inside and let's add in a floor. Cobblestone or stone brick, or maybe just a mix of both of them, would look really good on the inside here. And this keeps you from having a dirt floor, and it actually works really well with like a step down from the entranceway and from this side entrance. Rather than having 2 staircases down, just have a nice little floor right here that extends out from the foundation of your building. So just like so, all the way around like this. Go ahead and take yourself a single stair over here, and then 3 stairs on the inside like that. For your doorway, what I recommend is doing an inside facing door. So actually put your door here to where you have a bit more depth from the outside. So outside looking in, you are looking deeper into the door instead of putting it here where it's going to be flat with the wall. So do your door like this, and then like that. And then to fill in the rest of this door, what you can do is get a couple of trap doors on the side, just like this. I may have to actually do this from the outside. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do this from the outside. So from this side, you do like this, and then open up your trapdoors. And as you can see, it's gonna make it look like it's one big door whenever we're done with it. So like so, getting this one's gonna be a bit difficult. You gotta shift click on top of the door in order to get this one. Or I guess we could do a block there, and yeah, that works. So there you go. You got yourself a nice big doorway, and then you just open up the center of it and you can go in. So that's really nice. On the inside here, you're going to need to get some lighting in. So I recommend extending out these beams that we already have in place. So go ahead and take out some stripped spruce, and then take your beams right along like this. You're probably going to have to add in some more lighting as well in the future, but adding in beams and then maybe just a couple of fences every now and then like so. And then just hang down a couple of lanterns from the top like that. And then you can really do whatever you want with this area. You can add in a grindstone here in the middle, bring down a beam from where your windmill is, do some cogs and stuff, and then have a grindstone here in the center of the room, have some chests along the side, have some hay piled up. You can do all kinds of things. One other thing is, remember, you have a fireplace right here that you set up on the outside, so it makes sense to have a fireplace in here as well. So what I would do for this is I would do a couple of campfires just back here, like so, and then maybe I would even do That's going to be kind of hard considering we have an outside right there. Maybe we'll do something like this with some cobblestone stairs like so. And then just so all you see is the fire in the back and you don't actually see the campfires, just get some slabs and throw those down right there. And that's a nice little fireplace. Maybe you can even do like a little hood over it or something like that. But I'll kind of leave that for you guys to decide how you want to do it. But definitely utilize that fireplace. You put it in here, you might as well do something a little nice with it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the build done. However, as always, no build is done without some landscaping. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this time lapse going and let's get in all of the landscaping around this build and make this area actually pop. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, well, that is going to be where I wrap up today's video. I do hope that you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like on the video, as well as if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe, as there are going to be plenty more how to build videos coming out here on the channel. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. You guys have a great day.